You are listening to the only show where a former police officer, alongside a current law school student, tackle politics, the legal system, and corruption. The show, known around the world as Qualified Immunity.
Happy Monday. I mean, I know we're recording this on Sunday, but
Happy Monday, everybody.
if you're listening to it, it's going to come out on Monday, unless you're watching the live video. So happy Monday.
Okay, so question.
Answer daily double.
Completely random. How do you feel about Mondays? Like, I know a lot of people.
I don't really care.
They absolutely hate on Mondays, and
I don't care.
I don't really care.
That's another day of the week.
Yeah. I mean, it's the day that I get to usually get back to work and then actually get stuff done.
Yeah, like it's another day of the week to me.
I think I dislike Sunday afternoon more than I dislike Monday.
Really?
Yeah. Because it's like all the stuff that I didn't get done over the weekend, I have to get done in that span of 6 hours.
See, I hate Fridays.
I can understand that. It's
I despise Fridays.
When everything gets backed up, you have to get it all done,
and then I hate it because nobody's open on the weekends.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I can't actually get anything done on a Sunday because nobody's open on a Sunday.
Right.
Anyway. We're going to talk about the past. Just a little bit. This might not be this might only be you guys are used to an hour plus. This might be 45 minutes. I don't know. It depends on where this goes. How we have a country, and I think this started in the 50s. I don't know a nice way to put this, so I'm just going to say it. We got so distracted, and granted, this is before you and I were ever born, but we got so distracted by trying to invoke our moral principles upon other people that we have lost one of the fatal things in society, which is, if you do not learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. And granted, there's plenty of religious organizations out there that would be like, oh yeah, we didn't learn from this, so we're doomed to repeat what. The problem is you've almost religiousized legalism. In a theory, and you and I, in our what I'm now officially calling the hallucination episode, in our last episode, because I was tired.
You were hallucinating?
No. But we got done recording that. You left, and
did you die after I left?
My wife told me I took a shower.
You don't remember?
I don't really remember taking a shower. I was totes burnt.
Yeah.
But we run into this theory in this country to where everything's legal. And I've learned to hate the phrase, well, if they just would have followed the law.
The comply, don't die.
Yeah, comply, don't die.
Well,
comply with what? How are you going to comply with that many laws, that many statutes, that many anything? One. And number two is, why do we have some of the laws we have? They're based off the morality of people of a different age. And I'm not saying that there's not a justification or an argument to morality. Because you can ask Lucas, I have said this for years, capitalism without morality will become despotism. Period. End of story, period.
Well, and I think that's one of the very few areas where most, this might actually make our audience mad, libertarians, capitalists, anarchists, I think that's where they fall short. I think it's one of the very few areas where they fall short. They don't understand that you have to have some sort of morality.
But I agree with that, but I think that has to be based off social conscience, not based off of legal precedent.
Okay.
That's my entire argument with you can't it's going to be logistically impossible
Yeah.
to outlaw abortion.
Well, without addressing that specifically, your argument does make sense. Something that most people don't realize until you actually get into the legal field, and I think a lot of older lawyers don't understand this. The legal profession, like the legal system, is always at least 20 years behind everybody else.
Oh yeah, the legal system's forever behind.
Yeah.
Forever behind.
And that's true of other professions too, but other professions aren't putting people in jail. Like you aren't.
I really want to say California passed marijuana legalization like 2004.
Yeah. Well, and talking about technology, our legal system is not prepared to handle the technology that we have now.
No, not even close.
They're still dealing with 1990s technology.
The legal system is not prepared to handle.
And most of the lawyers that I deal with, they don't know how to work anything that was made after 2010. Which you understand.
Oof.
You understand as, you know,
Oh my God.
a 30-year-old. That's a huge gap.
Yeah, it is.
Like in law school, they teach us a little bit about e-discovery. I will say, law school is getting a lot better about this, but most of the lawyers that I know, they don't keep up with this. We talk about e-discovery in law school. One of the very basic things that we talk about in e-discovery, number one, don't send Word documents because those have a history. Like you can go back and access the history and see what the Word document actually used to say.
Yeah.
The other thing is redaction. Do your redactions, right? Just do it right. And what has really brought that up is the Trump administration, because his legal team does not understand how to do redactions.
Mm-hmm.
And you were talking about the legal team for the president of the United States.
Yeah.
They don't know how to redact a document.
No. And they don't understand. People do not understand that Microsoft has history with it.
Yes.
Like PowerPoint, yes. Excel, Word, Microsoft Office has history with it in a way that
and the guy
some other companies don't have.
Yeah. Well, the guy at my law school who teaches this stuff, he has told us he has won cases because somebody sent him an Excel spreadsheet and he said, "You made this yesterday. This is not an accurate representation of the evidence."
Yeah.
Like this is not actually the receipts they
yeah.
tell me that they are. And he won the case because he was able to go through the history on the Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
But that just goes to say the legal profession is 20 years behind at least.
Yeah.
On pretty much everything.
Oh, and there's a reason. And you know this, and if people listen to us, they know this. How many Microsoft things are in my house? Or my hotel room?
Probably one.
One. There's one.
Yeah. Two if you count the controller.
No, it's
no.
No, it's like counting the keyboard on my Mac.
Okay, it's a peripheral device.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't use it without the keyboard. You can't use it without the controller. Like I have an Xbox. That's it. Everything else in my life is Apple. There's a way. There's a way to have secrets on Apple.
Well, I always tell people this when they ask me about it. There's a way to keep secrets on Microsoft too.
Don't use it.
Keep it off the Wi-Fi. Like just don't connect it to anything.
Good luck. It's 2020.
Well, when I say that, I tell them it will connect if you aren't careful.
Yeah, well,
like
auto connect.
When I say that, I'm thinking, get like a 1990s computer and don't connect it to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Which I've actually done that. So.
And that's because you're paranoid.
Yeah, actually.
But you get this moment of time of we have come to this moment that I looked back the other day on history.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did we ever have to fight for gay marriage? Not because it wasn't warranted.
Right. But why did we have to do that?
Why did we have to have that fight?
Right.
Why does it matter?
Yeah.
What? It's like that. And you were like, I just word vomited. You were sent me a meme about the whole Disney and people freaking out thing. And apparently I missed it because that was like a third one of those I'd seen in 24 hours.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of an old. In meme speak, that's pretty old. That's like.
Oh, I know, because when you told me what movie it was from, I was like, I can't watch December.
But oh my gosh, you have two women kissing on screen. What are we doing? Like, what is the world come to?
I do not understand how we do not understand as a society that culturally we're headed toward the same fate that the Roman Empire had, because we try to over moralize which turns into over legalizing, which turns into over taxation to pay for that legalization based off of morality that is not symbiotically shared between cultures.
I think some of that is a valid argument. I mean, I'm not going to argue too much with that.
Like, you and I don't have the same moral values.
No, we
but
don't.
We're not going. I would never try and force my moral values on you.
No.
Like, force. And I'm not
Right.
saying saying convince.
Right.
Force or coerce people to live by a moral standard on which, and it's funny that we're actually recording this on a Sunday, and the podcast world will hear it on Monday, but we have that moment of, we have our moral codes, we have our moral ideology, we have that.
Mhm.
However, you and I think there's a couple other people we know, are not going to attempt to force, even at the current level. I mean, and I don't want to say peer pressure, but it's one of those, hey, this is why I believe this. This is why I do this. This is why I act like this. This is why I live like this, etc., etc., etc. You might try and make the argument and the convincing part of that, but you're never going to force somebody to live under especially through threat of legalization, unless it's directly harming you or your family.
Right. Well,
and I think at that point you're invoking self-defense.
Right. Well, my argument for that, and I haven't made this argument very much because I just don't argue.
Because nobody talks like this anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody has this debate anymore.
Well, and I don't have this debate with boomers because it's impossible to reason with.
Yeah, they're impossible to reason with because they are the generation of Kennedy and Reagan and the greatest Americana of all time and yada, yada, yada.
By the way, if you're a boomer listening to this, like
we're sorry.
Baby boomer, I apologize, but
I'm not.
Your generation has some work to do as far as understanding what the world is actually like now. I mean,
they have no idea.
That sounds really bad.
They have no idea.
But my argument on forcing your ideology or your moral code or whatever on somebody, I don't think you should do that. I think it's actually wrong to do that because you're taking away someone's ability to make a moral choice.
Free will.
Yes. And if they are not making that decision themselves,
that
says nothing about their character.
That runs into my issue of, we are doing the thing that the Romans did. And in some form and aspect, we're doing the same thing the Greeks did. Because the term morality is ambiguous.
Well,
yeah. And now everybody says I'm going to start saying the whole paradigm of truth depends on reality, but it does.
I mean, this is such a complicated topic.
That's my point. This is the reason people don't have this discussion anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, we live in Oklahoma. Granted, it's a Bible Belt state, what people would consider the Bible Belt. It's illegal to buy a car on a Sunday.
Yeah.
It's also illegal to have sex in any position, form, known to mankind, except for one. Foreplay is basically a felony in the state of Oklahoma. And do they prosecute it?
No.
Not anymore. However,
but they could.
They could.
You and I talked about this the other day. We've seen things, at least I have, I'm sure you have too. I've seen things prosecuted recently that, I mean, they just never get prosecuted.
They never get prosecuted unless you piss somebody off.
Yeah, they're basically used as a political tool.
Yep.
Where...
Sit down, shut up.
And I've been really surprised Oklahoma City is, that area is really bad about, prosecuting things against political enemies. That's the most fascist thing that I've ever seen on such a local level.
Yes. Political enemies will 100% get prosecuted in the state of Oklahoma.
It's actually pretty common.
Yeah. And the problem is, though, we've run back to morality versus reality. In reality, and this is where this gets hard, take religion out of it.
Yeah.
Take your religious belief out of it, and then answer the question.
Yeah. Well,
why do people give a shit if two women are kissing on camera?
Right.
take religious beliefs out of it. And I can already hear Karen having an ungodly come apart right now because, well, if we wouldn't have done this, this, and this, and taken religion out of this, this, and this, we wouldn't be in the position we're in right now. No, we're in the position we're in right now because there's too many Karens that want to invoke morality into legality because they're afraid of something that's not the same thing. They're afraid of something new or different or odd.
Yeah.
Normal's the thing we call normal's what normal and ordinary are the words we use to describe something we don't want to be.
You did bring up a really good point, and I think okay, so you brought up take religion out of it.
Take religion out of it.
That's one of the things that I think was originally a pretty good thing about the U.S. is because it was founded on natural law, which natural law is not really a religious thing.
No, but God,
It's a very...
You and I know some people that would...
Yeah.
Yeah.
My argument on natural law is that it's almost a universal law across all religions and atheism, whether or not you consider that a religion.
Atheism is a religion based off the fact there's a group of people that believe in anything.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, it's
people
a religion.
about that, but I really don't care. Whatever. But natural law, the theory is kind of, hey, this is just universal law. Like everybody.
Yes, and the other side of that becomes this too. Do you really care if some? Do you what? Why does it have to? Why do we have to try and impact people's law or people's lives with legality based off morality when they're happy? And I go back to the idea of same-sex marriage. I don't care.
Well, again, this is a really complicated subject. You brought up happiness in gay marriage.
Yes.
Karens or boomers or whatever you want to call them, they don't want gay marriage to be illegal because they think, oh, that's wrong. Oh, you shouldn't be doing that. That's sinful.
Okay, but legality versus legality versus biblicality.
Right. Well, the only reason the whole gay marriage thing was actually an argument was because of taxes.
It's because of taxes.
But nobody brings that up. Nobody brings up why that's an argument.
No, but there was plenty of churches I know that were selling shirts that said it was Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. And I'm like, oh, good God.
By the way, the church sucks at propaganda, in case you didn't know.
Yeah, they do. Churches are awful propaganda. The bad part of it was, they're really not. It's just called the Republican Party.
Well, yeah.
The Vice President of the United States right now.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. The conversion therapy, man. And we're not ever going to have the debate of... We will never have the debate on this show of if gay marriage is... or homosexuality is natural or chosen or whatever. We're not having that discussion. Ever. It's not worth the debate. Now, we want to talk about something really controversial. We'll talk about transgenderism one day. Yeah. By the way, that's coming in the next 2 weeks.
Not thrilled about that.
Oh, why not?
It's a controversial topic.
I know, you're so anti-controversial, and I'm over here like,
Yeah.
watch this. Set match, run away. But I'm stuck in this moment of time of, I'm watching the United States destroy itself based off of legalism.
Yeah.
And when I get back to a lot of that legalism was based in a misguided attempt in the, I'm going to say the 50s to 60s of
What legalism is, the legalism that we see today in the U.S. is a very recent development. That's
yes, it is. Like the okay, in the South, it's the late 50s and early 60s.
Yeah. Most people don't like this term, but the U.S. was originally founded on a pluralist ideology.
Yes, it was.
Like, we're going to open this up, and you just do what you want to do because we're all different. the colonies were all different founders, different religions, different reasons, different economics.
Well, okay, and you laugh at this one, but you know what kills me the most of how much we try to legalize morality is, do you realize? Okay, I'll ask this question: what happened first in Oklahoma history? Polygamy being outlawed,
I can tell you the answer right now.
or the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms being enshrined in history?
I think polygamy was in our original Constitution. I think it was.
It's before the right to keep and bear arms.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like paragraph 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's. I want to say paragraph 1. That might be like a general title or whatever.
Yeah, it's like the induct.
Yeah.
And then it's polygamy. And why was polygamy outlawed in the initial page of our Constitution? They were trying to keep who out?
Mormons.
Mormons. They were trying to keep Mormons out of Oklahoma, so they outlawed polygamy.
What bring that up? What most people don't realize in Oklahoma is we still have statutes on the books that were passed because we were anti-Catholic. Like we still have discriminatory statutes on the books that are anti-Catholic.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, and all of our oaths of office still have "So help me God" at the end of them.
Yeah, that's super anti-Catholic. Side note: I used to be Catholic. Now I sleep in on Sundays. Because by the time I get to Saturday, it's like, I'm serious. If you go watch the video, then I didn't realize I actually looked tired, and I never looked tired. Or I don't think I looked tired.
I think you always look like crap, but whatever.
Because you're over here trying to invoke your morality on me.
What? What?
It's alive in the fast lane, don't you know?
Oh, okay. I think I complain at you more about you not taking care of yourself.
You really do.
Actually,
You're just like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I have a double cheeseburger in one hand and like a can of Coke in the other, and I'm like running up a flight of stairs, and you're just like, are you gonna eat that? I'm like, yeah, in a minute.
To be fair, most of it is about your stress management, though.
I don't feel stressed though.
I think you don't know what it's like to be relaxed.
I don't feel stressed.
Okay.
Like,
Well,
I get tired.
you just don't know how to stop.
That's accurate.
That's you gotta stop every once in a while.
I stopped for like a solid 8 hours last night. Thank you, Ezekiel. This episode brought to you by.
They're not paying us to advertise, are they?
No.
No.
No. Like, you wouldn't let him anyway.
Why wouldn't I?
Procter & Gamble.
I'm easy. I like money, Greg.
You can be cheap or you can be easy. You can't do both.
I beg to differ.
There's another half of that statement that I will refrain from saying on Sunday. But we really do. We look around and we're like, how is this still an issue? Like, how are we still? And I'll use one that gets a lot of people, that's gonna piss some people off. Surprise, surprise. Why are we still outlawing drug use?
Honest response.
Yeah,
Money.
money.
Because cops like civil asset forfeiture. And you can't really do that without a war on drugs.
Okay, that's not just it. The court system.
I know.
There's so much racial injustice in the fact of keeping illicit narcotic use illegal.
I was giving you a reason, not every reason.
Why was the initial drug war started?
Go ahead and say.
Because the people in power were racist and were trying to wreck inner cities in America. Guess what they accomplished by the drug war? Wrecking Black and brown communities across the country. Minority communities were wrecked by the war on drugs, and they're still wrecked today by it. Why are we still in such a mindset? And they justified it by this. Well, good Christian people don't do drugs. That's a lie. They justified it by calling it a moral reason. They justified it, like, guys, honestly, outside of rape and homicide, let's just go sex crimes and homicide, because I don't want a specific, I don't want to narrow that down. Everything else is debatable based off morality.
Yeah.
And we have come to this junction in history to where we are going to have to make a determination in the near future. Do you want to force somebody else to live by your ancient dated book? This is the irony in all of this too, is going, you will have Karen and Dylan arguing on a Sunday about this, about the whole, well, that should be against the law because that's a sin, and this and that and this and that. And granted, we're from the South, but I guarantee you, you can find some of these people anywhere in the country. At a church on Sunday, you can find these people. Are the same people. They're like, well, I'm not going to let a Muslim tell me what to do. Yeah. It is identical.
Well, it's really funny because they try to pass statutes in Oklahoma. They've actually tried this in Oklahoma to pass statutes that basically say we want to implement, I think they call it Sharia law.
It's Sharia law.
Which, depending on who you ask, that's something different for everybody.
That is, there's a lot of propaganda behind Sharia law.
But they tried to pass this statute, and it was, this is unconstitutional. And so they didn't pass it. The irony is, if you're going to do something like that, it has to be universal.
I agree. But everybody hated me. Everybody got on my back when they had to take the 10 Commandments down, and I was like, good.
Yeah. Well, and my argument was, why are we wasting all of this time arguing about this when there's actually stuff to do, like in the legislature, politically? Like, why are you wasting your time on something?
On the positive side of that, they were arguing about it. It means they didn't pass anything else.
I disagree.
True, they could have passed whatever they wanted because nobody was paying attention.
Yeah. That's my argument when anything comes up, like, oh, we don't want transgender people in this bathroom. Oh, we don't want gay people in this locker room. Oh,
why?
We don't want that. It's like,
I'm serious when I say this. Why? Like, why do you care? Why? Okay, you're a religious person.
Yeah. My argument for that is always, will you just pave the dang road?
True story.
Just keep the road maintained.
Do what you're supposed to do. You're a religious person. I will ask you this question.
Okay.
Do you... I don't know how to phrase this. Do you have a personal objection to polygamy?
A personal objection? What do you mean by that?
That it should be illegal.
Illegal?
Illegal. Granted, I know you well enough to know
No.
you'd never do it, but should it be illegal?
I don't think so. I think that's one of the things you can control on the county level, though.
I don't think you can control that at any level.
Polygamy?
Yeah.
I think you can.
I don't think you can for one reason. Pursuit of happiness.
Oh, you're talking about, like...
I'm talking every single level.
I thought you were talking about ability. You're talking about legally.
Legally. Ability, you can control ability with peer pressure.
Well, no, I mean, like, can you enforce it? There's a way to enforce that.
But, I don't...
Legally, I mean, if you're going strictly by the Constitution of the United States, I don't think you can.
I don't think you can either.
No.
I don't think you can do it with polygamy. I don't think you can do it with gay marriage. I don't think you can do it with... I don't think you can do it with any of the controversial topics that have been brought up in our lifetime based off of morality or it being immoral. The one you could debate is abortion. But I think I figured out how to say it the other day when I was driving home, thinking about the look on your face when I was like, you can't outlaw it. Because you just had this look on your face like, what in the hell am I talking about? I think the logistics of outlawing abortion are so asinine due to what it would take in a legal system to be effective that it would be ineffective. I guess is the easiest way to put it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's easy to say it. I think it's easy to make it a talking point. And I think that's what a lot of groups who are raising a lot of money right now are doing.
Yeah.
It's easy to make it a talking point of, well, we're going to outlaw, we're an abolitionist society, yada, yada, yada. I want you to put in a plan, and I want you to give me elements of a crime. And I thought about calling somebody we both know and being like, convince me. Don't get me all emotional. Don't keep emotions out of it. Convince me. I want you to show me the bill.
Yeah.
I want you to show me the elements of the crime, and I want you to show me the punishment. And don't tell me you're just going to lump it under first-degree homicide.
I will at least agree with you on the fact that, and maybe more than this, I just stopped listening after this because I was so mad. It's a political football.
Yeah, it is.
Nobody's actually
trying to do anything. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. I think there's a couple people we know who are disillusioned in their efforts.
There's a large group in Oklahoma that is trying, but I think the method that they're using is completely wrong. I think they're just making people mad.
And I'm friends with a bunch of abolitionists.
Yeah.
Like from all over the country.
Yeah. I don't think they're making much headway. I mean, the last 2 or 3 years, I don't even know what happened to all of them. I mean, I haven't heard anything about it.
That's true, actually.
One
of them started a pact, but
I think number one, they burned out a lot of their supporters, and number two, the way that they were going about it was just rude. And I don't.
Pamphlets in your car.
Well,
when you come out from church.
I mean, yeah, that'll make people mad. I don't think that's necessarily wrong, though.
That's rude.
The way that they were treating people at the Capitol, at their rallies, at their events was just.
See, I stayed away from it for that reason.
I know a lot of people that got out of that movement for that reason. That might be the reason that I got out. I don't know.
When I went to church with my parents.
And I'm not really out of the movement necessarily. It's just.
But when I came out of church, I went to church with my parents. And I want to say it was around Easter.
Yeah.
In 2016. And I went to church with my parents, and I came out, and there was a political flyer on my car.
Yeah.
And I say political. It wasn't for a candidate. It was for a movement.
Yeah.
And it was an abolitionist flyer.
Yeah.
And at that moment in time, I'm like, seriously?
Yeah.
Because when you're running for office, you're trying everything you can think of.
Yeah, but nobody tries that.
Nobody tries that.
That's off limits. Nobody does that.
Like that nobody does that. And at the time, it was the church that the sitting governor was going to.
Yeah.
So I do not think that it is a very prudent plan to piss people off and attempt to politically pressure them. And that, thank God for pop filters on mics right now, because that was a lot of peas. But it's
Peter Piper picked it.
Yeah. But now we've come into this moment of time of going, what do we do now? Because I understand both sides of the Black Lives Matter argument. Let me rephrase that. I understand both civil sides.
Yes.
I do not understand neo-Nazis. I do not understand racists. I do not understand homophobes. I do not understand any person to that effect. I don't understand them, because people are people are people.
Yeah. Well, you asked what we do now. I mean, the only solution, and I think we're seeing this a little bit on drugs, but not near what it should be,
is you start repealing stuff.
Yeah, deregulation. Or not even necessarily deregulation, just
delegalization.
Yeah. Deregulation would be ideal. Most of what we're seeing is, hey, maybe we should stop putting people in jail for this.
I legitimately think, and I might do a stupid laws episode, but I'd have to do it on a federal level. I mean, because we've got listeners all around the country. And honestly, we've got listeners from at least 4 different countries. So, but there's a lot of stupid laws.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it goes back to something we talked about during the Delirious episode. Should sex work be legal? Like, if you start looking up at like drugs laws where you've got two things are hugely illegal.
Yeah.
Sex and drugs. And they tried to make rock and roll illegal. I'm serious.
We just don't want people having fun is what it is.
Well, I kind of feel like we're living in a modern day Footloose. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, you didn't expect that cultural reference.
Didn't expect that one. I generally just don't expect pop culture references from you.
Why? You act like I live in a rock.
You kind of do.
It's a nice rock,
Mud hole.
You act like I'm over here in this mud hut without Wi-Fi or something. I pay attention to pop culture. Ish. I mean, hold on. How are you getting pop culture references and you're on like one social media platform? I'm on every social media platform and I don't understand 90% of the pop culture references that you say.
I will confess my meme game is a little behind the last couple weeks.
What did you say once though? I see macro and you see micro.
Maybe.
Because I have so much information coming in.
Well, I mean, it's not like I don't have any information coming in. It's just
you've seen my social media like 3 screens wide, watching stuff.
You have so much coming in over such a broad area that like you have to filter out the important stuff.
Yeah.
And mine is a lot of information about a very specific area.
Yeah.
So
I have a lot of information.
And I remember now the conversations you're talking about because I'm on Twitter.
Yeah.
And you're on everything.
Everything. And I've got it all open on 2 windows.
And I basically showed you how to use hashtags to increase your following. And you were surprised.
Yeah, because it's just like I use it for information collection.
Yeah.
Like that, and I think that's one of the hardest things of doing this podcast is I use social media for information collection. Yeah. And doing this, I've got to also push information at the same time.
Right.
And it gets.
See, I used to use Facebook for information collection until I got banned.
Yeah. That's really sad too. Because you don't know how many times a week I got to text you to be like, hey, go share this on Facebook. I'm busy.
Sorry.
Oh.
I can't do.
Well, this is part 1 of the morality episode. The next one we're going to actually dive into, well, this is illegal, this is illegal, this is illegal. Because we're going to dive into Doma too.
What fun.
Oh, you're going to hate it.
I already do.
This is going to be a short one, though. So, we're getting everybody's appetizers. This is the appetizer episode for watching Greg lose his ever-loving mind about...
Just to whet your appetite.
Just to whet your appetite. Screw up your tagline.
Well, first of all, I'm on the Twitter. Which is already mentioned.
Twitter. At the Lucas Cohen.
Yes. Forgot my name for a second. Vote bold, vote gold, JoJo 2020.
And with that, I'm going to end this one the same way I end every single one, with my favorite quote from my favorite music festival in the entire world, which hopefully will be back in 2021. It is called Tomorrowland. Live today, love tomorrow, and unite forever. Later, guys.